You ever have one of those moments where you look out your window and realize the world's gone completely nuts right next door? Let me take you back to last year, when our quiet little street in Arizona turned into a battlefield so wild it could have starred in a Hollywood drama. This wasn't just a spat between neighbors. It was an all-out war between a stubborn rancher and a power-crazed HOA president who thought she owned the whole dang planet. Buckle up, because what I witnessed will make you laugh, gasp, and maybe even question humanity. It all started on a crisp morning, just as the Arizona sky was turning cotton candy pink. I was out walking my dog, Rusty, minding my own business, when I spotted Linda Harper marching toward Jake Larson's gate like she was leading a parade. Linda, our new HOA president for Sunset Pines, was the kind of woman who'd alphabetize her spice rack and enjoy it. She clutched her infamous clipboard, her face set with the kind of determination you see in people fighting over the last TV at a Black Friday sale. Jake, on the other hand, was the opposite quiet guy who ran a sprawling 80-acre ranch at the end of the road. He'd sooner wrestle a cactus than sit through an HOA meeting. That morning, Linda stopped dead at Jake's fence, glaring at a sign that screamed in bold letters, "Private Ranch, keep out." Her lips pursed so tight, I thought they'd disappear. From across the street, I watched, half amused, half curious, as she snapped a photo of the sign, scribbled something on her clipboard, and slid a letter into Jake's mailbox with a flourish. Then she strutted off, her loyal sidekick a nervous guy we called Clipboard Carl trailing behind her. It was like watching a soap opera unfold in real time, and I was hooked. By lunchtime, the whole neighborhood was buzzing. Small towns run on gossip, and my wife, Sarah, heard the scoop from our barber, who got it from his cousin, who delivers groceries. Apparently, Linda's letter kindly urged Jake to register his ranch with the HOA for the community's benefit. Jake's response? He told the mailman he'd sooner teach his cows to line dance than join Sunset Pines. I couldn't help but laugh. Jake wasn't the type to play nice with bureaucracy, and Linda wasn't the type to take no for an answer. Things escalated fast. Over the next week, Linda and her clipboard cronies turned into full-on spies. They'd hover near Jake's fence, peering through binoculars, snapping pictures of his tractors, his hay bales, even his old dog, Max, who mostly slept in the shade. They never crossed the property Linny leased. Not yet, but the tension was thicker than Arizona heat. Jake's wife, Emma, started stress baking, churning out so many loaves of sourdough that half the street was carb-loading by Friday. I could tell Jake was on edge, though. Every time he glanced at Linda's crew, his jaw tightened, and I knew trouble was brewing. Then came the second letter. This one wasn't a polite nudge, it was a formal violation notice, accusing Jake's ranch of disrupting the neighborhood's VY Sewell harmony and posing a safety hazard. The kicker? A due law 1000 a day fine, backdated a week, with a not-so-subtle threat of further escalation. Jake showed me the letter one afternoon, his voice calm, but his eyes blazing. "What's next, Tom?" "They wanted to hide my horses in the shed," he muttered. By the next morning, he was installing high-tech security cameras at every corner of his property, their red lights blinking like they were daring Linda to try something. And just for good measure, he slapped up a new sign. "Smile, Linda. You're on camera." I nearly spit out my coffee when I saw it. Linda, of course, wasn't about to let a rancher outsmart her. Early one Tuesday, I was pruning my roses when I caught sight of her at Jake's southern gate. There she was, heels sinking into the dirt, blazer pristine, phone up and recording like she was filming a true crime documentary. Then, in a move that made my jaw drop, she climbed over the locked gate, clipboard in hand, muttering about regulatory authority. Jake caught her halfway to his barn, and let me tell you, the air crackled with tension. I couldn't hear every word, but Linda's voice was sharp, laying down the law, while Jake's was low and unyielding, shutting her down cold. Then, out of nowhere, Linda whipped out her phone and dialed 911, shrieking, "He's threatening me. He's armed. He won't let me leave." She waved her phone like she was auditioning for an Oscar, but Jake, he just stood there, 20 feet away, hands in the air, his cameras rolling. Within 15 minutes, 2 sheriff's cruisers pulled up, lights flashing, but sirens off. They questioned Jake, watched his security footage, and had a quiet word with Linda. The look on her face when they told her to leave his property? Pure gold, like someone had just told her the HOA didn't rule the universe. I thought that'd be the end of it, but oh, I was wrong. Just when we thought the drama had peaked, Sunset Pines slapped Jake with a lawsuit. They wanted to force his ranch into the HOA, tear down his barn, relocate his livestock, and make him pay for damages. The neighborhood lost its mind. People showed up at Jake's place with pies and casseroles like it was a wake. But Jake wasn't backing down. He hired a lawyer named Rachel, a woman who wore cowboy boots to court and could quote property law like it was poetry. For weeks, Rachel and Jake built their case, digging up property deeds from the 1970s, old plat maps, even an aerial photo I found in my attic from a county fair, showing Jake's barn standing tall long before Sunset Pines existed. Even old Mrs. Jenkins, who'd complain about a blade of grass out of place, signed an affidavit VYT saying Linda once threatened to fine her for planting daisies. The trial was a circus. Linda strutted in with her legal team, 3 HOA board members, and a binder so thick it could have doubled as a doorstop. Jake sat quietly beside Rachel, while neighbors packed the gallery, whispering and passing around Emma's latest batch of cookies. The judge, a no-nonsense woman with zero patience for theatrics, cut through Linda's grandstanding like a hot knife through butter. Rachel laid out the EVY Denke, deeds, maps, camera footage, even Linda's 911 call, where her shrill accusations contrasted with Jake's calm responses. The courtroom stifled laughs when the judge paused the recording and asked, "Ms. Harper, are you saying Mr. Larson was armed with a camera?" By the end, the ruling was brutal. The HOA had overstepped its authority, was fined, ordered to pay Jake's legal fees, and barred from harassing non-members again. But the real bombshell dropped a week later. The county sheriff showed up at Linda's door. Turns out, she doctored HOA documents and filed a false emergency report of criminal offense. Suddenly, our neighborhood group chat was flooded with memes of Linda in orange jumpsuits. Linda stepped down from the HOA board, and the investigation kept her out of sight. Jake, meanwhile, gave his barn a fresh coat of paint and kept his cameras up. He added one final sign: "This ranch ain't HOA. Violators will be prosecuted and filmed." Even Sarah, who hates drama, admitted the street felt peaceful again. Looking back, it's almost comical grown adults fighting over fences, barns, and dirt. But when power goes unchecked, even the smallest people can turn into tyrants. Sometimes, it takes a stubborn rancher, a sharp lawyer, and a neighbor with a knack for finding old photos to remind everyone where the lines are drawn. So what do you think? Was Linda just a control freak who went too far? Or did Jake's defiance make things worse than they needed to be? Should HOAs even have the power to mess with someone's private land? And let's get real, would you have climbed that gate like Linda or stood your ground like Jake? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button if this story got your blood pumping, and subscribe for more crazy tales from the front lines of suburbia.